I got another one. This shit's been going on in the internet, so I'm like, oh, I gotta let you guys know too. Sabo versus Zoro. Now, let me give you a couple words about these characters, like I always do, a little bit. Sabo, like we know, he's the revolutionary um, army member, right? He's basically second in command. He's the number two guy, right? He's like, you can think of him as like Dragon's vice captain if you want to, but they're not pirates, right? They go against the world government and they try to fight Imu directly, the Holy Knights and all that shit, right? We've seen this guy, going to Malaysia and he fought against, well, he didn't fight against them, but he's seen what these, Gorosei members are, and he took a look at Imu too. So he's seen all that shit, right? And he lived to tell the tale. There's only one other man that we know about who's done shit like that, right? Like at Marijua, like in his fucking house, right? Where he's from, right? Where Imu, sits on, right, the throne. Actually, there, we ain't talking about Elbaf and all that shit, man. We don't care about that. This is a guy who like ran up in there and shit somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, and he like came back living to tell the story. Now they wrote shit in the papers about this guy killing King Cobra, which ain't true. We know this. Eater the flame fruit, and he has armament mastery. I'd say on par with the admirals. Not gonna fucking lie, bro. On par with the admirals. In another world, he probably would have been an admiral. Not gonna lie, man. Facts, not cap. Anyway, Zoro is like he is Luffy's right hand man. He's a great fighter too. I'm not saying that. There's a lot of Zoro fans I know that follow me, and there's other Zoro fans out there I haven't met yet. But Zoro is a three-sword style master. He's the only one in the series who uses it. He has armament haki, observation haki. He's even got conqueror's haki. Now, this young man don't know how to use it yet, but he will eventually. But this is current form, y'all. We are not doing end of series shit over here. In the future, I'll remake this video, and I might, say some other things, but he has mastery over armament haki. It's pretty damn good, right? But I would get the side edge, maybe, to Sabo. You'll find out. And then this guy isn't the smartest, but in a fight, he's smart in a fight. And he's also like, he's got that dog, he got that animal in him, right? So he's able to push past his limits and fight, even if he's bleeding out and all that shit. And that's something that I see in Zoro a lot, right? And that's what other Zoro fans see too. That's what Luffy likes about him. He'll fight even if his bones are broken, even if he's like, way past, he should have gave up a long time ago kind of shit, he'd still fight. But these two fighters are important to Luffy. These guys are going to be fighting at Boltago. They're just going to be fighting there. It's just a place they're fighting, man. There's no like storyline behind this. This is just a fight. It ain't like the other fight I talked about today. This is just because people want to know, and I'm gonna let you know what I think. When it comes to physical strength, I was between both of them, I'm not gonna lie. But I think I'm gonna give that shit to Sabo. Zoro, like, I see Zoro low to mid diffing vice admirals, right? But the way that Sabo handled, Bastille back in, Dressrosa before he even mastered his devil fruit, this guy he was operating, right? he was operating that shit. Hey, bro, he wasn't sweating that shit at all, bro. Low diffing these vice admirals. So I have to give him that credit. So his punching power and all that shit's stronger than, what Zoro got. And Zoro's strong too. Like, don't get it fucked up. You could easily give it to Zoro if you wanted to, But I think I'm gonna stick with Sabo on that one. Speed wise, I'm also gonna give it to Sabo. Zoro, he's pretty quick, but not as quick as Sabo is with the flame fruit. You know, I honestly think he's faster than Zoro, or not Zoro, but Ace, with the flame fruit. He knows how to use the firepower right to make himself fast. Then we got durability. And this one is gonna come as a surprise to some of y'all, but it shouldn't. With arm hockey experience going to Sabo, it's only natural that I give him the durability edge. And Zoro, as far as damaging him goes, you can actually damage Zoro during the fight. You know, if you're like somebody like on his level, or obviously if you're above his level, you're gonna damage him. Sabo is gonna be tougher to damage. His armament hockey is superior to Zoro's right now. All right, that's not gonna be forever though. This guy has his armaments on the level of armor. And I don't like, bro. When I like, cause I'm gonna make a top 30 video on Sunday, and bro, I'm gonna have this guy pretty high, and you're gonna be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Nah, man, it's like that. Endurance wise, Zoro is gonna have him beaten endurance wise. I do believe if the fight for some reason ends up going longer, Zoro has, like, he's naturally built for that kind of fight. You know, he can fight in a longer fight if he has to, because he is going to be taking like burns and all kind of shit from Sabo. Believe that. You know, pipe to the head and all that shit, pipe to the knee, you know, getting, you know, bruised up by that shit, right? When it comes to intelligence, and I ain't saying that Zoro ain't cutting through. You know, it's gonna like take like I said, it's gonna like initially he won't be able to cut through, but what does Zoro do when these fights are long? He's able to figure out a way to cut through, and I do believe he'll have to. Not early in the fight though. I'll tell you that, not early in the fight, but intelligence wise, Sabo got him beat. Sabo is smarter than Ace and Luffy. I'd say Zoro is slightly smarter than Luffy, you know, so, you know, intelligence wise, Sabo. Experience also goes to Sabo. He was training with Dragon and all them when he was just a boy. You know, and it ain't that Zoro wasn't training, but he was training with real operators. Operators who were trying to change the world. Understand? These are operators called Kuma, called Hack, um, called Dragon himself. Like, where the fuck did this come from? Come on, man. You know what the fuck's going on. Don't do that shit. You know, close skills go to Zoro, right? Close skills going to Zoro. I have no problem doing that. He has to run up on Sabo to cut him. You know, trying to cut him from a distance, I'm not giving that. Like, Zoro's not doing that shit either. He ain't gonna play the distance game with this guy. He's gonna try to cut through it. Recovery, I'm giving it to Sabo. Sabo is a Logia type. It ain't like he's healing himself, but he can like disappear in flames and then get behind Zoro. Especially early on in the fight, I'd say. And then recovery wise, I'll say goes to Sabo. Hacks go to Sabo as well. Now you're like, but he has Conqueror's Hockey, man. Doesn't that come out later in the fight too? It does. But see, Sabo is not King. Don't think just because he has flames and that guy King is not Sabo, man. That King is some other guy he's been dealt with. He's in the past. Don't worry about that shit. we got we got Sabo, and he has the flame fruit. He had that shit not that long. didn't have it that long. He's seen an admiral. He's like, I'm fighting you right now. Like, yo, you don't see that shit every day. And he's like, you're, Vice Admiral. I loved it. Him. I need to fight you instead. You know, and he's like running that shit. Zoro is fighting against him, and this was like back, a while ago. And I think both of them could get, Fujitora a fight. But I think that Sabo can beat Fujitora much easier than Zoro can. Armament hockey superior from experience, but y'all in the future that won't be the same. But as of right now, today, I'm gonna have to give it to Sabo. Endurance wise, or not endurance wise, environment wise, I'm giving it to Sabo since they're fighting at both ago. And then this fight, y'all, I'm giving it high difficulty. Sabo's winning high difficulty because the type of guy Zoro is. And I did say that Conquer Hockey would come out later on in the fight because early on in the fight, I don't think he's going to be able to cut Sabo. He's going to get a little pissed. He's going to try to, use some more, armament hockey, try to figure out Emma better and other things, right? He's getting attacked by Sabo, and he's like, this guy's tough. He's like, I'm trying to, cut this man. I give it high difficulty. Sabo, I'm higher than Zoro right now. Just letting you know for my video on Sunday, don't be surprised. But be cool on the corner. Let me know what you think. If you think Zoro's cutting through that shit now. I don't think so. But at the end of Elbaf, that could be a different story, man. It could be. I actually will say that. But be cool on the corner and let me know what you think about this in the comments below.